another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead, your next stop, the Ziegler Zone.
little new intro there. Hi, I'm Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and this is the Dawg Pound. I've got a distinguished panel on today, some of the most brilliant people in the car business. You know, I went looking for the smartest people I could find and couldn't get all of them today, but I do have Brad Wise. Hello, Brad. How you doing?
Thanks, Joe. It's great to be with you today.
Well, it's great to have you. Ferman Chevrolet, how's business down in Tampa Bay?
It's fantastic, Jim. And I've been talking to some of my friends at other regions up north, and it's not, they've seen a little bit of a softening, and we have not been experiencing that down here. I think for two reasons. I think a lot of people are moving here and the population's booming, and I have an outstanding team. So I feel very fortunate to be insulated from any slowdown that might be happening, but we're off to the races this month, and for that I'm very humbled and fortunate.
Yeah, a lot of New Yorkers moving to Tampa Bay. I told them, leave your voting habits back home. And a friend of mine, second generation, been friends with his family for a long time, Brett Sutherlin. Brett, how you doing?
Doing great, Jim. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Tell me about your business. How's everything?
Everything's still really strong for us. We have dealerships in Georgia and Florida, and we, again, like Brad, I have not seen the downturn yet. If it's coming, we're still rocking and rolling, off to a record month this month.
Now, most of your dealerships a good number of your dealerships are Nissan.
We have 14 dealerships, of which 7 are Nissan.
7 are Nissan, so half of your dealerships are Nissan. And I have seen a lot of dealer satisfaction improvement with Nissan.
It's really
seen night and day. They really have made a big effort to win back the hearts and minds of the dealers.
We're involved with Nissan and several others, and I would rate Nissan at the top right now.
That is amazing, because there was a while I was writing that they were at the very bottom in dealer esteem. And I just met this guy a couple months ago and just absolutely formed an immediate friendship. Honda of downtown Los Angeles, Brad Mugg. Hello, Brad.
Hello, Jim. I appreciate you having me back on the show. Super excited about what we're going to talk about today.
We got a lot to talk about, and we're going to talk about the generalities of change in the car dealership. It seems like the entire world has turned upside down overnight. And when we talk about brilliant women from the Horn Automotive Group in Phoenix, Arizona, how's your weather out there today, April?
Hot. The good news is we're supposed to get more rain later today, so hopefully that'll cool it down. But it is hot. But so is our car sale. So like the other gentlemen, we have, if we had more cars, we'd sell more cars, and that's just the plain and simple truth. But I think, like Brad said, we have a massive influx of people moving here, so I think that definitely is pushing that envelope a little bit more for us. We're not seeing any downturn.
Well, I heard Brett Sutherlin posted, what were you getting, 123 cars in the pipeline for one of your stores?
I've got 180 that's due to hit Mall of Georgia in September, which is definitely up.
That's amazing. And from Spain, what city in Spain, Max?
I am in Marbella, Spain, which is southeast, all the way down by Africa.
Okay, the mad Russian himself, the resident curmudgeon, Max Zanan, the king of reinsurance. Everything going well for you, Max?
So, unlike everybody else, I do majority of my business in Northeast, where it is slowing down a little bit. But luckily for me, dealers are waking up to the importance of reinsurance or dealer-owned warranty companies. So they're looking for additional profit centers. But car sales are slowing up for sure.
Fantastic. Okay, in the news, it seems like Ford is hogging all the headlines. You know, General Motors has got Car Bravo and a couple things that that have made some news lately. Car Bravo, Brad, tell me about it.
We chose not to go with Car Bravo. We're the #1 CPO certified pre-owned GM dealer in the Southeast region and one of the top 3 in the country. So that's something that we do really well. So we decided not to monkey with that and change. I also feel like consumers recognize CPO more than they do Car Bravo. I have not seen a Car Bravo commercial. They claim to have spent a lot of money trying to instill that into the vernacular of America, but I haven't heard that yet. So we are one of the dealers to take a pass on it, but we're open-minded. If they want to change something or something changes down the road, we have an open mind on that.
Well,
so,
how does that program work, Brad?
Well, the difference is that you're able to bring in different brands into the fold instead of Chevrolet. So with us, it's exclusive to Chevrolet. With Car Bravo, you can certify non conquest manufacturers, which is a very good idea. But like
it sounds really great, but anytime General Motors gets involved in the car business, I say, shop, click, and drive. How's that working?
You said that, not me. And I have to be. I just attended a Chevrolet meeting in North Carolina. It was the 30 biggest Chevy dealers in the country, and we met with all the top brass at Chevy. And I got to tell you, I left there feeling like Chevrolet's got its hand on the right gear stick for what's ahead. As far I have a renewed understanding of why these EVs are so important to General Motors, and it has to do a lot of it with the CAFE standards and gas mileage to be able to keep producing the Silverado truck that is so important to General Motors. And I've got no sense at all that they're trying to eliminate dealership relationships with the process. In fact, I felt like they really appreciated the dealer's role in the success of the auto industry, and I thought it was genuine. I've been around a long time, and I can smell a rat just like you can. And I thought General Motors really has a good plan for the future with fantastic products. I thought the leadership was good. We also have Mazda, which I feel exactly the same way about. But so, with Ford and what they're doing on separating the franchises from EVs to the ICE vehicles, I don't know what to feel about that, but it sure does sound like they're trying to make a whole new set of rules for EVs, like it's the gateway to get all the things that they wanted to happen before that they couldn't with the franchise laws. But you can probably speak more to that than I can, but I don't see that happening on the General Motors side.
Brad Mugg, what's the future of Honda?
Well, Honda's kind of slow to go at this whole electrification, but 2024 we'll have our first full electric vehicle, the Prologue. It's a joint venture with General Motors. It's going to take that relationship is between 5 and 6 years with General Motors. The design of the vehicle will be produced by Honda. The drivetrain, the electric, the battery electric powertrain will be from General Motors. So that's that joint venture. It looks like it's going to be a good one. And then to follow, we don't have exact dates of vehicles, but to follow, we'll start seeing more of it. But I think we're the last ones to the finish line on this one.
Do you think they're going to go to the agency model?
I don't think they are. I mean, there's a lot of talk like every manufacturer will do some sort of agency model, but right now what we hear from Honda is that's not in the plans. But who knows what the future is going to bring us on that, right?
Brett Sutherlin, all your franchises, what's the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think electric for all our franchises is going to play a pretty large role. I'm super bullish, as I just mentioned, about Nissan. Hyundai's on fire right now. I don't think we have currently a bad franchise. I walked away from a Ford dealership that we had under LOI when all of this craziness started happening. I think
that was a wise decision, by the way.
Yeah. So, I'm feeling pretty good about where we are and where we're headed.
Max Zanan, how would you like to be building a $25 million Ford facility right now?
I mean, listen, the difference between me and everybody else here is that I'm not a dealer and I don't need to be politically correct like everybody else. Right. So the way I see it, Jim, right? I mean,
never were.
I mean, come on, guys. I mean, let's get real here. I mean, they are looking to eliminate every single dealer. They're dying to go direct to consumer. I don't care if it's Honda, Ford, GM. I don't care what they tell you at the meeting, what letter they sent you. They're salivating in the boardroom to be like Tesla, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's what they want to do, right? And the reason they want to do it is very simple. It's because Tesla got away with it. And dealers put up zero fight. 50 states, zero fight.
Max, I've got Mike Stanton, the president of NADA, coming on this show here in a couple of weeks, and he has assured me that they are going to march onto the battlefield.
Yeah, sure.
No. Hey, look, this is Ziegler you're talking to, Max.
Right.
Okay, come on.
Listen, Tesla got away with it, and they see the dealers put up zero resistance. So what makes you think that Ford won't get away with it? What makes you think that anybody's going to put up any resistance? Dealers are not united. Their egos, the NADA is not what it's supposed to be, or it's not what it's used to be, right? There is no consolidated body protecting franchise laws across the country. So of course they're going to try.
They're going to try, and I've always said it. April, jump in there.
I don't dispute that they may try, or one or two may try, or they may stick their toe out there.
Oh, they are definitely going to try. I mean, let's not anybody be that naive on this. No, none of us are naive. No.
Here's the reality, though. Greed will always decide the end result. And I believe they will never make it to the finish line because they don't know what they're doing. So at the end of the day, when they finally realize how much they need the dealers to sell the cars, and that those relationships matter as much to them as it does to us, then they will have to backpedal. So I'm foreseeing, like, hey, we can do it now because of the way the market is now, but the next time it changes, or we do hit that little bit of a recession, anything that happens down the road when they can't get their car serviced and they can't get into, get their car purchase and all those handled, all the stuff that we know right now is the pitfalls. When that happens, this is going to happen. And they're going to say, no, we were with the dealers all along and it's all fun. And we'll all
Hey, let me tell you, I was listening to I think it was the Today Show this morning. This is mainstream news. It's not CNN. It wasn't Fox. I mean, it was right in the middle. And they said with electric vehicles that we just had a $7,500 rebate on electric vehicles. And immediately General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis raised their price on the trucks by $7,500.
Hey, Jim, let me circle back about the Tesla comment. There's a big difference.
Please do.
There's a big difference between Tesla and all the other manufacturers because they didn't have a dealer body. They never had to go against franchise law and win that fight. So, everybody may want to be like Tesla, but Tesla from the get-go started this way. So I think there's going to be, I just want to clarify that. I think that is a huge difference, and it's not nearly as easy as we're trying to make it sound, in my opinion.
Oh,
they will use
not at all.
to sell direct to consumers all of their electric cars. And then they will use this precedent to sell ICE vehicles direct to consumers as well. It's a matter of
I understand.
Max, there's more to it. Max, there's more to it.
There's a lot more to it. There wasn't a fight because they didn't have a dealer body. That's a huge difference.
Well, one thing we have to understand is that they are phasing out ICE. I mean, the whole industry is phasing out ICE. And I see that Ford, more than any other manufacturer, is looking at a way to phase out the franchises without paying for it. They don't have to pay for the franchisees. They're going to phase the dealers out. And this is the plan. Now, the plan is not going to come to fruition. Number one, because the manufacturers have never got it right. Ford tried the auto collection. General Motors tried their thing back in 2000 with Ron Zarella. And I mean, nobody has ever done it correctly. But they're scooping up every profit center. How much are you marking up your Hondas, Brad?
I don't actually mark them up. We do put some accessories on them.
I knew that.
Yeah. But we don't do adjusted market values on any of them. But it's about $4,000 in accessories, but it's nicely added value.
Yeah. So, how much are you marking up the cars, Brett?
We're doing a market adjustment anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000,
which is pretty standard around the industry, Brad.
We're not marking them up at all.
You know, and people have said to me, well, Ziegler, they're going to mark up the cars, and the used cars 3, 4 years from now, these people are going to be so buried. Well, actually, they're not going to be buried. And one thing we have to look at is that we haven't sold the SAR that we were selling a couple years back. I mean, we're not selling that many new cars. I mean, as an industry. So there's going to be that many less used cars on the market.
Well,
So
yeah, the banks aren't going to turn around and finance if you're charging $10,000 over. You're going to have some down payment, right? I mean, yeah. So I agree with you, Jim.
Yes, so used cars are going to maintain a certain amount of value in the future. And what about? I'll just throw this up to the panel. What about BMW? Threw down the first shot. They're going to charge $18 a month for heated seats. But that and Elon Musk started charging for accessories, and all of a sudden people say, wait a second, we can subscription accessories. How's that going to work, Brad Mugg?
I don't see that working very well at all, personally. I think people will avoid it as much as they can.
Well, the Germans just don't get it. Does anybody here have a German franchise?
No.
Okay, so we haven't got Volkswagen or
I got a Volkswagen.
You got Volkswagen. I had the privilege of attending a Volkswagen make meeting about 15 years ago. And the German guy was on stage, and I was wearing a dealer badge, and everybody was giggling because I was in the room. And what was so funny is one of the dealers says, we need automatic transmission Passats. And the German guy says, we drive stick shifts in Germany. But we need automatic transmissions. Americans need automatic transmissions. And the German guy said the most unbelievable thing. The dealer said, well, Americans drive automatics. And the German guy said, they will learn.
Crazy.
April, what's the future of subscription services on accessories?
I think it's nuts. It's just, they've gone to a whole nother level of crazy in my mind when it comes to that. I mean, I know we're a subscription society nowadays. You know, we all probably have 30 subscriptions. We don't even realize we still pay for every single month. So, I mean, in one way, can I see that people are like, yeah, that sounds good. And you know, $5 here, $20 there, $10 there. But ultimately, you know, they're the first things that get canceled when somebody says, hey, I can't afford this, 12% more inflation of food that I got to go buy. So I need to start cutting things. And those are the things that are going to get cut. So they need to, just charge up front like we always have, pay for the item and move on.
Well, guess what? That same article, that same piece I saw on the morning news this morning also said, and that they nailed General Motors. General Motors is now going to charge $1,500 for a 3-year subscription to OnStar.
Yes.
Let me tell you, OnStar has been a pain in the ass ever since they incepted it. People don't buy it. I mean, it's one of those things that as soon as it expires, the subscription expires. Nobody wants it. Nobody keeps it. We got, my God, we got cell phones with GPS and stuff. Nobody wants. So General Motors is all of a sudden sneaking in and forcing customers to buy OnStar. And I've got two General Motors dealers in the audience. What do we think?
Well, if you look at your Apple, if you have an Apple phone, I mean, the amount of subscription charges that you pay that you forget about that are reoccurring, like for instance on my daughter's phone, it's pretty scary to go and click on your ID and see all the subscriptions that she signed up for that I approved, but forgot about that reoccur. I mean, that's just the way revenue is generated nowadays, and that's why they're trying to get into that, because reoccurring income is what you want. Jim Ziegler doesn't want to make one circuit in a seminar and get paid once. He wants to get a training platform to get paid every month, right?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I am the king of upsell.
It's a fantastic, it's a fantastic business plan, you know. So
I've been upselling the Sutherlin family for 30 years.
Not to get off the subject, but back to the previous subject. What I don't understand is that, you know, the largest volume dealers in the country are dealing with subprime. They're dealing with lots of negative equity. And I'm not sure how direct to consumer they're going to deal with that, you know? I mean, I could see in a luxury brand like Tesla, Lexus, BMW, where a direct to consumer type of situation might work. But I don't know how that would work maybe in a Metro Nissan dealership, you know, that, you know, dealers are resourceful. I mean, we're competitive. We know how to make big deals. We know how to do that. If you take that away from some of the highest volume dealers, I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. But I'm not sure that's what they're really trying to do, eliminate the dealer. I think you're going to see the elimination of F&I. You're going to see the elimination of salespeople that are making six figures. You're going to see the elimination of mid-line sales managers that are making, you know, $200,000 or $300,000 a year, because they're going to compress the margins on these EVs. So I just think the dealerships are going to look a lot different down the road.
What is the franchise going to look like 10 years from now, Brett?
You know, I'm not sure that. So OnStar is a little different than heated seat subscription, right? I don't know that it's that far fetched. You know, I mean, if I fly to my house in Park City, Utah, I'm damn sure going to be paying for heated seats, right?
But don't you live in Florida?
Well, I'm back and forth, yeah. But you know, in Florida, it's not that much of an issue. You know, I'm sure Sirius XM had a super low subscriber rate when people have, you know, they give you the first 3 months. I bet that's in single digits if I had to guess. But I don't think that the subscription-based model is that far-fetched. I could certainly see it happening in the future, depending on how it's set up. I do think there's going to be obviously changes. You know, I think time has shown us that the true buy from home, Jim, you remember when all the website providers were pitching online retailing? That's backed off a little bit just because it's proven that customers want to go in and kick the tires, right? So now there's
Brett, you and I said that on a broadcast a couple months back. I've always said the consumers, a large percentage, want to come in. Customers have different modalities of buying, different ways that they prefer to buy that. And I think there's three of them.
I think the dealership business is people are pushing it pretty hard to change. 10 years from now, I think it is not exactly status quo, but it's close.
I have a question on the subscription thing. How is that going to work when somebody trades the vehicle in? So if I'm appraising a vehicle and it has heated seats, do I now not count it as heated seats because technically I can't really sell it with heated seats without the subscription? These are the things that I think about when it comes to some of how that's, you know, when we look at this down the road, how's that going to work?
Well, Max, you're the contrarian here. What do you think?
Well, I mean, listen, guys, the OnStar is the result of the deliberate supply chain compression, right? So since there are not enough cars, why not charge? I think they went modest by charging $1,500. I guarantee you next year they're going to say it's going to be $2,500 subscription for 3 years because they can get away with it. That's all it is. You as a consumer right now have zero options when it comes to buying a car. It's either you're going to pay $5,000 or $10,000 over sticker, or they're going to stick you at sticker, right? But with a $1,500 subscription to MyStar. Only with the subscription model, right? It's the manufacturer that's going to make the money, not the dealer.
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now. We mentioned F&I a minute ago, and I wanted to get into F&I on this show. Who's going to keep the F&I profits on the EVs? Brad Mugg?
That's a good question. I mean, depending on the manufacturer, obviously, but there's definitely going to be some pressure on the dealer keeping it in there.
Well, that's what I'm looking at, because the manufacturers are moving a lot of profitability onto their side of the ledger. Right. And they've always done this. I mean, when I remember when Jim Moran started putting bed liners in trucks in Florida, all of a sudden the manufacturers said, well, bed liners is a profit center. And all of a sudden the manufacturers started scooping up that profit center. So, and
I mean, Jim, I do this for a living, right? And I'll tell you this.
I think the rest of us do too, Guy.
Right. But I really do not derive any income from selling cars. I only derive income from selling F&I products. So I'll tell you this. It is ridiculous to put all eggs in one basket if you're a dealer. So if you happen to be a Honda dealer or a Nissan dealer or a Chevy dealer and you're selling OEM F&I products, that's not great, to be politically correct, right? You want to have a separation. You want to build an asset that is not controlled by the manufacturer, right? These guys can barely make a car. What makes you think that they can administer a claim on an F&I product that they never designed, right? Nissan does not have its own F&I product, right, Brett? They use Allstate. It's just a white label, right? So, I mean, guys, you just really need to understand that a third-party solution will always be more beneficial to the dealer principal than any OEM solution, no matter how many carrots they
Max, are you pitching the other 4 people in the show?
Right.
I'm sold.
Right. But I'm just saying, like GM, they will dangle a carrot and say, hey, if you sell GM F&I product or Ally F&I product, we're going to give you a 0.5 point discount on floor plan. That 0.5 point is not worth it, guys. Do the math.
Okay, well,
I'll say one thing. I will check mark and say Max is 100% right, and just leave it.
Max is right. I didn't want to do an F&I show, but I knew Max was going to sneak it in there sooner or later.
Smart man.
So anyway, the agency model, I tried to get on that subject a couple times. Now, in Europe, Stellantis is going all in on the agency model, and that's going to be a 2,000-foot showroom, 1-car showroom. The customer's going to come in and put an Oculus on. They're going to sit in this thing that vibrates like and assimilates a test drive. And what's the future of that, Brad?
I'm sorry.
Brad?
Why is it? Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy that's on YouTube that has a zillion hits that said the internet is a fad and that no one would ever go to some computer to get their news and magazine, because that guy is on YouTube. I don't want to be that guy. So I hope this isn't recorded, but I just can't imagine, anytime soon that's happening. A car still is a huge purchase. And yes, I can buy a household product on Amazon today and have it here today or tomorrow, which is wonderful. But I think it's not that big of a burden for a family or an individual to go into a car dealership to buy a car or a boat, because it's a big deal. It's quite an investment, and then they're everywhere. They're conveniently located. So I just don't feel like a lot of this virtual or buy from home or virtual retail or digital retailing is going to be 100%. I believe it's going to be, the first 3 or 4 steps of the sale could be done virtually, and it's going to be our job to grab the baton at the point where they left off and make sure that we handle that seamlessly. And I'm a little bit more optimistic on it. I think that's the dealer's role is going to be in that vein, not so much 100% retailing, because I witnessed a digital retailing tool that was 100% excluding the F&I department. I mean, it was a virtual person doing the F&I and all the products. It was a great presentation, and they signed them up online, and after it was over, they dropped the bomb on you that, there's no F&I commissions to be paid. You're saving 15-20%. And all the dealers in the room's eyes lit up, So I would say that the bigger thing to worry about would probably be the F&I end of things, with flats and compliance and oversight that seems to be on the news lately. And the amount of money F&I people are making, God bless them, they earn every penny of it. I'm just saying, I just see the tea leaves on that one first. I think that's more of a risk than actual the digital retailing taking over.
Honda, Brad Mugg, where do you see Honda going with the agency model? I started on this earlier when we went a different direction.
I'm sure they're talking about it just like every other manufacturer, but right now, over the next 10 years, I don't foresee it being a part of Honda. But Brett and Brad, you guys both say customers want to buy the car at the dealership. They don't want to buy online. I think all of us probably have a digital retailing tool, and I agree with both of you. Very seldom, maybe 1 or 2 people a month will actually go through the entire process. At the end of the day, it is a big purchase, and you're right. It's people want to drive, and
nobody completes the transaction statistically. There's that odd person that will, but nobody goes all the way through the transaction. They stop short of pulling the trigger and buying the car online.
Yeah, it seems like they stopped right before putting their credit information in, right? And it's a good lead source. That's the way I look at it. It's a very good lead source. That's what it's going to be for a while, in my opinion. But obviously,
well, you're in California. Generally, when I have a California dealer on, I look for things to be different than the rest of the panel. Are you delivering a lot of cars at home?
No. We offer it free of charge.
You're one of the biggest dealers in the country, you're in California. And
customers want to come to us. We offer it often. I bet we do maybe 2 deliveries, 3 deliveries a month, and not.
Are you discouraging it, or are the people not doing it?
People are doing it. People have no problem coming to the store, looking at more than one vehicle, right? Making a good decision. Well, even Tesla, they sell a lot of cars online, but people are still going to a Tesla showroom and looking at the car, walking around the car, sitting in the car and driving the car, right? Because it's a big purchase. So, it's in my opinion, it's going to be a while before that becomes the business model for car business.
Brad Wise, in the 90s, the Ferman organization probably paid me close to $100,000. I was doing a lot of training. And one thing about the Tampa market and St. Petersburg market, Clearwater market, those aren't first-time buyers. Those are last-time buyers. Generally senior citizens in the market. Let me ask you a question. How are the seniors that? First of all, how much of your audience is the senior audience?
Not that much. Tampa's not really a snowbird area. There's areas around Tampa that certainly are, and that is a concern.
Naples, Clearwater, yeah.
We don't see that here. We have a diverse mix of people. Especially lately, people are moving left and right here. The price for apartments, rent, and housing, and the availability is just at a crisis level. The teachers in Tampa can't even afford to live here, and there's the shortage of teachers, the shortage of police officers just exists for that reason. So. There's a lot of new people moving, and what you just said about our organization, we've been in business 127 years.
Yeah.
But people moving to Tampa don't know that, And I'm not even sure.
You guys were blacksmith shops originally, right?
Yeah, bicycles too. But I'm not so sure at the end of the day if that's something people care about that much. But we're sure proud of it, being in business 127 years. So you just can't take it for granted because your population is changing all the time, especially down here where you get people new to the market. So it's not like you can stop advertising and hang your hat on the fact that you've been in business 127 years. We certainly don't look at it that way.
Brett Sutherlin, let me ask you, how much off-site delivery are you doing? You're in Georgia and Florida.
Virtually none.
Virtually none. Now the manufacturers are looking for orders. That's the next place I want to go with this show today. Built to order, and I know several of the manufacturers are even punishing dealers if the customer doesn't follow through with the order, which is, and I know they're trying to stop the brokers and the people flipping the cars, and I know there's a whole lot of reasons why they say they're doing it, but on the other hand, we're penalizing dealers, and you got Ford Motor Company that can't tell you when they're going to build a Bronco. You could order a Bronco today, and there's some of them been out there for a year, and that order has never been fulfilled. But a Metro dealer across town got 3 identical units to the one that the order didn't get fulfilled. And so you've got more diverse franchises than anybody in the room, Brett. Let me ask you, what do you think about built to order?
Most of our dealerships are not seeing that that's going to be a thing of the future. Our Hyundai dealership is probably...
Now, the manufacturers think they are.
I understand. Our Hyundai dealership and our Genesis dealership, our Genesis store in Fort Myers, Hyundai store in Athens, Georgia, we are pre-selling, but we're not doing any orders virtually. Hyundai, for instance, if you go in, they're not even accepting orders right now. So, it's just, again, I don't think you're going to see that become a thing. Brad Mugg, are you ordering any cars in LA?
No, we're not. No, we have our allocation and we actually do the order, but then when a customer comes in looking for a car, we have them pick whatever's coming, right? But
yeah, exact same thing we're doing.
Yeah, we're picking the right stuff though, and what people like, the right colors, the right models, trims, and so it works out. We usually always have about 40 orders at any given time.
Is it only the domestics that are pushing that model, that scenario?
So. Yes.
So it's only going to be Stellantis, which I'm still thinking of Stellantis as Chrysler, but I think of them as a domestic franchise in my warped mind. But Stellantis, General Motors, and Ford. So Brad, that goes back to you on that question. Built to order, how's that work?
Well, that subject came up at the recent Chevy meeting. Right out of the horse's mouth, they agreed that it's not a good idea. It just creates animosity and confusion. So they're not in favor of that and phasing that idea out. But one thing we have realized or understood during all this is that people will wait for a car now. They will put a deposit down and they will follow through with delivery, and that's something that they're getting used to. And that might be something that'll stick around in the car business a long time of buying inbound units. And it's a lot full of,
is that
60 days.
I'm going to dispute that. Will people wait for a car? I mean, now remember, as Jim Ziegler, I go on what most of the people will do most of the time, not what some of the people will do some of the time.
Well, they're certainly waiting for them now. Everything that we have coming in is pretty much sold, and they're going to the person that left the deposit on it. It's not like we're getting a lot of cancellations, but that's not a necessity. I mean, if they want a car, that's what they have to do. Now, when inventory,
that's what I was getting at. They got to do it. I mean, there's no option.
But there are those that think that this is here to stay, that the manufacturer likes not having incentives on the hood, that their labor costs are low, the dealer's experiencing great floor plan expense reductions. So if it works for everybody, but you know as well as I do, it's just going to take 1 or 2 franchises to pull the plug on that, and then this is all over, and we're back to 1,000 cars in stock.
I knew that was the next thing. You are so much smarter than you look, Brad. I'm gonna tell you. that was where I was headed with this thing next. You know, once Stellantis starts putting a whole bunch of Ram trucks on the ground, Ford and General Motors are all of a sudden F-150 market share and Silverado market share is going to become people say, well, profit is the big thing. Well, excuse me, Bill Ford and that Ford family has an ego. You know, and the Ford family is not going to get kicked by Dodge Ram. And Brad Mugg brought it up earlier. Nobody builds a bad car. I mean, let's face it, even the worst cars in the market today are pretty good cars. You know, nobody builds a really bad car. I mean, you could say that your competition's bad, but they're not. And Ram is a pretty good truck. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as those Ram trucks hit the ground, all bets are off and inventory starts hitting again. You know, how many cars you got on the ground right now, Brad Mugg?
I've got 38 new on the ground right now, and that's only because I had 3 trucks drop yesterday. So they'll be gone in the next couple of days. But yeah, we've been running usually setting about 15 cars at any given time. We went into the weekend with like 14 cars. But you're right. You know, the manufacturers, they can't help themselves, and all due respect. But at the end of the day, it's going to when they can build the cars, it's going to come down to market share, and they don't want to lose their market share, and they're going to do whatever they have to do to feed us with as many cars as they can. Hopefully, they've learned a little bit from this, but I think when the dust settles and they can build the cars, they're going to build the heck out of them.
I can see that, and you know, what about alternative fuels? I mean, now, you're a Honda dealer. Now, Honda and Toyota are still messing around with hydrogen.
Yeah, that's kind of phasing off with Honda. You know, they built the Clarity hydrogen for about, I want to say 3 years, maybe 4. And it was a lease only. It was very, very expensive for them.
But Toyota's still pushing all the chips in on that.
And they are, and they're selling them, right, instead of just lease only. But Honda's, it's cost them a lot of money as far as they had to replace the stacks on them several times. So it was an expensive project for them. I don't foresee that going much further. I know Hyundai also has a hydrogen vehicle out now, I see. But we'll see where it goes. The infrastructure is the problem. I mean, even California has the best infrastructure, and I drove one of those hydrogens for about 2 years, and you're always in panic trying to find a place to fill it. And I don't think consumers like that at all, you know. So we'll see. And that's the other thing on electrification, you know, getting the infrastructure. The production of those electric vehicles are going to outperform the infrastructure, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as well, right?
That is definitely going to be something, because electric has got more problems than Ford just sent out an edict that telling, what was it, 20,000 or I don't know, 20,000, 200,000, but big ass number of consumers. Please leave your cars parked outside so your house doesn't burn down. I mean, because the Chargers that they were selling somehow are having spontaneous combustion, and really, and then Ford just lost, and Ford's making all the headlines. I hate to keep talking about Ford, but Ford keeps right out front. Ford just lost a $1.7 billion lawsuit. Mm-hmm. And that lawsuit was on the F-250 where the roof caved in and it wasn't safe, allegedly. So let's talk about the fact that a lot of people bought those F-250s and haven't yet sued Ford. So that's just the first lawsuit settled for 1.7. So say the court adjusts that to $500 million. Brad,
hey Jim,
Brad,
if you don't mind us running back to the electric cars, I was at dinner.
No, I want to go anywhere you want to go.
I was at dinner with the CEO of Hyundai, and we were talking about electric cars, and this is something that I really don't think has been talked about enough. and that is the carbon footprint when it's time to dispose of the batteries. Because we're still fairly early in the game, but if you measure the carbon footprint of disposing of these batteries, in time, it's greater than driving a gasoline powered vehicle. So I'm not sure that that's the be all end all where we're going to land. I'm not sure hydrogen is either, but that's pretty telling when you've got the head of a major car manufacturer talking about that. And that's something I've not seen in the news. And it's something that I think we're going to have to deal with in time.
I still don't.
Elon Musk talked about launching battery waste into the sun.
That's all fun, futuristic talk. But I watched something mathematically, and I don't understand why they're not pushing hybrids more, where you get kind of the best of both worlds. Because they said from the electric footprint on a hybrid versus electric, you would have to drive that vehicle 458,000 miles to break even, just to break even. So I agree. I think a lot of these things, we're just trying a lot of stuff right now because they can, because the consumers don't really have a choice right now. So if they're going to just try some different things, they want to try direct to consumer, they want to try digital retailing tools, they want to try EV, they want to do all these things. They can do it right now because consumers don't really have a choice, because the supply is so much lower than the demand. But when those two numbers start to come back into reality, then suddenly the consumers will go back to making all the decisions. And when that happens, that's going to change a lot of this stuff. It's going to take DR. We've tried DR before.
What a brilliant observation. Yes.
Trying to sell cars cradle to grave. Scion was doing this 12, 13, 14 years ago. Consumers didn't do it. They finally threw in the towel. So these things that we think are going to hit the end of the line, consumers that don't do it, they'll decide, look, the majority doesn't want to do it, so now we'll throw in the towel. Some of these things will stick around to a percentage. EVs are going to be here. Are they going to be here to a massive level? No. Do I think they're going to be 10% of what we sell? Probably. But that's more to go back to what Brad had originally said. That's so that we can say to the world that we still can have our Chevy trucks and our Ford trucks and our big gas guzzlers, because we have the EV stuff to offset it, right? So that's really what that stuff's about. But to go all in on, hey, let's go change everything we've ever done, always and forever, because of this much, doesn't make any sense. We need to stick with what processes are going to help sell more cars, which is people who sell people, who help people, and that's the end of it. So that's my summary for today.
Right. Next month, Ford's going to have their dealer meeting. Now, I have sent a camera into the future, and I have actually sent a camera into the future, and I have actually filmed the dealer meeting when the dealers are after Jim.
Ludwig, you will search the woods. Those are your group. Herr Frankenstein, you will take to the mountains. Those are your people. I will lead the third group by the lake. Remember, get him alive if you can, but get him. But search every ravine, every crevice, but the fiend must be found. Are you ready? Light your torches and go.
That's beautiful, Jim.
That's Ford Motor Company dealer meeting.
That's crazy. That's you.
Poor Farley.
Can I share a quote for the day?
What's that?
Can I share a quote for the day?
Would you please?
I saw this quote and I thought it was really great. It's an Akio Toyoda quote. It says, trouble results when the speed of growth exceeds the speed of nurturing human resources. To use the analogy of growth rings in a tree, when unusually rapid growth caused the rings to grow abnormally thick, the tree trunk weakens and is easily broken. I thought that was just a fantastic quote for the day as far as everything we're
And that was Akio Toyota, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of those snatch the pebble from my hand quotes. You got to really play with that for a second. So anyway, we the built to order model. Right now, I'm seeing that the manufacturers are really banking on that. General Motors has really stepped into that game, Brad Wise.
Well, like I said before, just last week at the meeting, that is something that they recognize as awkward, that they don't feel that it has as much of advantage or has as much merit or value than maybe some had thought. So it sounded to me that they're winding away from that, at least at Chevrolet.
How about your Ford dealers, April?
Well, Ford, as you mentioned, they're all in. It's we've got to order, and then they turn off orders. We can't. I don't even like to talk about Ford. It's been such a frustrating go for those stores, but they're doing the best they can. At the end of the day, we try to cross every T and dot every I that they ask us to do, and we month after month after month, we end our month, we have no cars on the ground, zero cars on the ground every single month.
Brett Sutherlin, do you have a domestic?
I don't.
So you've got, and right now, how about Hyundai and Kia? Where are they in this mix?
I'm not seeing that much difference with Hyundai and Kia than I am with the other import manufacturers that we have.
That's what I was looking to hear, because I'm hearing that Kia, the CEO of Kia, and I've forgotten his name, but the CEO of Kia North America said, "We're not playing. We're not going to participate. We're going to put cars on the ground." Is that what you're hearing?
Oh, I think you're going to see Hyundai. Look, I think that is exactly what I'm hearing, to answer your question. And look, everybody may say inventory is never going to get back to how it was. And you hinted at this, Jim, earlier. It just takes one manufacturer. If Hyundai's the guy, I mean, you've got Jose Munoz, who ran Nissan forever. If he's wanting to aggressively take market share from Nissan and Toyota and Honda, and all of a sudden he mass produces cars when the others aren't, how long do you think it's going to take before Nissan, Honda, and everyone else ramps up their volume? One person, it's impossible for it not to go back, because one person has the ability to screw it all up, period.
I know for a fact that the import manufacturers have cars at the port they are not delivering to the dealers, creating purposefully a shortage, artificial shortage. And I know this to be a fact. You can go down to Jacksonville and check it out. So Brad Mugg, what do you think about that statement I just made?
It sounds very unlikely to me. I know that would not be Honda's play for sure. I'm not sure what manufacturer.
No, I didn't say Honda, and I deliberately.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but gosh darn, I can't see that happening. But if it's happening, I don't understand the motive.
Well, I don't know. I can't totally explain the motive, but as we wind down the last 5 minutes of the show today, Brad Wise, what have we not talked about that we should talk about on this broadcast?
Great question. The SAR is at extremely low compared to what it was. That tells me that there are a lot of buyers on the sidelines that haven't bought a car for two reasons. One, the prices are too high, or B, they can't get what they want. So that bodes well for the future of the automobile.
Say that again. Slow it down. Say it one more time.
The SAR is extremely low compared to what it was. So that means there are a lot of buyers on the sidelines sitting in driving cars that are aging, which is going to benefit
14 years average on the road.
Right. And so they're just waiting either to get the car that they want that they couldn't get, or they're waiting for the prices to come down. So if the production increases like we know it will.
Let me interrupt you 1 second. There's one other scenario that figures into what you're saying. There's a lot of people that can't buy cars, credit problems, down payment problems, upside down problems, that ordinarily a dealer would be able to put into the market if we worked the deal. But the manufacturers, the way they've got this set up right now, nobody has the wisdom or the electronic capability to work the deal. Go ahead.
Or the incentives, you're right, to pull negative equity guests out of the market. You're right. But due to the fact that there, during Cash for Clunkers, we pulled future business out. And that was a bad thing. So this is a great news for dealers that there's so much business out there yet to be sold. And if production does increase, which we know it will, you're going to see a massive volume of car sales, probably not at the margins that we're experiencing, but you're going to see massive amounts of car sales. And you're going to see used car values hold, like you mentioned earlier, due to the fact that there's so much pent up demand out there for new cars, and the availability of new cars is not really getting any better right now. So the used car value should hold. I just think the future looks really good for the next 2 years in the automobile business. It may look different in 2 years, but just hang your hat on the fact that there are tons of buyers out there that haven't pulled the trigger.
I had one of the statisticians from Black Book on last week, and we talked about the same thing. Brett Sutherlin, I am so pleased to see you on this show again. What have we not talked about?
I think we've covered a broad range of topics. I think, what's currently happening in the market. So I don't believe I have anything else to add.
Brad Mugg, what have we not talked about?
We're majorly focused right now on used cars. I mean, becoming a very, very, very good used car dealer. That's a big focus because that's all we have to sell. So I'd just say our biggest focus in our store is all about used cars right now, and used car acquisition.
Used car acquisition and technician acquisition. That's a whole other show.
Right, sure is. Yeah.
Because I see Brett Sutherlin up in the top right hand box advertising for employees all over the place. It's a real shortage of qualified techs, qualified anything. April, what have we not talked about?
The only thing that we haven't really covered is the fact that anyone can sell a car today, but at some point when this volume does come back of automobiles, your people are going to need to learn how to sell cars again. So take the time today to start training, especially all the new people who have come into the business. Make sure that they have the skills and the tools and they're ready to go, so that when this does switch, because it tends to switch pretty fast, if it does, they're actually ready to participate in selling cars.
When I was a manager, and I was a manager with some pretty substantial dealerships, my theory as a decision maker was always hire the best people and pay them too much. I mean, that was always the number one thing. Hire the best people, pay them too much. I never went wrong with that theory. Max, I hate to end the show with you because it's.
So listen, I think we didn't pay enough attention to the agency model, because I think, we are again being naive about it, right? It's another Tesla in the making. It's another precedent. They're going to crush dealers in Europe. It's not just Stellantis, it's Mercedes as well, right? And they're going to use European precedent and try to bring it to America. So all I hope to see is that dealers get united, hire Lenny Belevia or any other attorney who's going to bring a proactive lawsuit, not a reactive lawsuit. Otherwise, it's another rerun of Tesla. It's going to be disastrous for dealer body in America.
Okay, well, that was a great show. I mean, I want to thank. I've got 3 of my friends on as guest panelists today, and that made it a lot easier. So anyway, as we wind down the show, everybody wave goodbye to the audience.
Bye, guys.